The sun is setting over Miami, and so it is setting on what has been a championship for the ages. The fight's far from over, though, as we reach the pivotal moment of the season. Will we see a two-time champion in the series? Will Lacey be dethroned by a series veteran? Or will the rookie come in to steal the party? 4 gladiators enter, and only one will leave a champion. Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to Green Flight TV and to the final round of the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Series at Homestead-Miami Speedway. My name is Ola Ramble alongside Josh Baird. We are bringing you all of racing action from start to finish on a very beautiful Monday afternoon. What better way, Josh, to kick off racing than, of course, right here in Miami. Tonight's race, of course, being brought to you by Blackhawk Motorsports, and you know for a fact this is going to be a fun afternoon of racing here in this one.
Nolan, I am so excited to be at this track tonight, not only because it's such an iconic track, being the finale of most NASCAR Cup seasons, but also because this has been such a tight race to bring us to this point in the season, and what a great track to be able to celebrate this iconic moment as these guys try to finish up the first season with these Gen 4 Cup cars, and such a tight battle for the final spot on the leadership board.
We take a look at those championship standings now. Tony Hilbrand, Dalton Kilbro, Benjamin Lacey, Dustin Ping. It is a winner-takes-all grudge match here on this Monday afternoon. Tony Hilbrand will be entering racing action this afternoon with 17 top 10s, 12 top 5s, and 1 win. Dalton Kilbro, 19 top 10s, 11 top 5s, and 1 win. Dustin Ping, 13 top 10s and 6 top 5s. But Benjamin Lacey, with 6 wins so far in the season and enters as the defending champion, he is by far the odds-on favorite on paper looking to win this race. But let's not forget, in the Gen 7 cars here just 1 year ago, he was bested by not one but 2 of the drivers that are in the Final Four, so he is not nearly out of the woods yet.
Benjamin Lacey's going to have a tough task ahead of him because these guys tonight are going to give 110% of their effort. You're going to see a lot of checkers of records tonight because it's all hands on deck for trying to make that final set of points to try and get themselves to the top of the championship. So you're going to see the likes of Tony Hilbrand, Dalton Kilroe, Benjamin Lacey, and Dustin Ping leaving it all out on the track tonight. You got the underdog Dustin Ping looking to come in and make a name for himself as the rookie. Benjamin Lacey, the return champion. Dalton Kilroe, a guy that's found himself in the right place in the right time this season. And if anybody can give Benjamin Lacey a run for his money tonight, it's going to be Tony Hilbrand.
Tony Hilbrand finished runner-up in this race last year, second only to Nick Nickerson by 7 seconds. Of course, Nick in that race was out on a genius fuel strategy. Fuel this race looking like it's going to be a lot more uniform. You will, of course, have 4 pit stops throughout the night that are scheduled pretty evenly at that, 29 to 33 laps, right at the 1/5 mark of this race. There's a lot to be excited about, and there is a lot of racing action ahead of us. This race, 25 miles longer than your typical mile-and-a-half race, up to 225 from the usual 200 for a nice, even 150 laps to close out racing here in the Sunshine State. I seldomly get this excited over a championship, but this one's been brewing for months, and I have a feeling we are in for a wild show.
Yeah, I agree, Nolan. And the thing that I think is it's been the staple of this whole season is how awesome the racing action's been. I mean, even up until last week at Darlington, it's just been an epic story of trials and errors and triumphs. So I think we're in for the same event here tonight, and I think it's going to be a wild, wild show.
Qualifying just drawing to a close. In practice, the entirety of the Final Four were separated by only 0.07 on the practice chart from 2nd through 5th. That is only 0.07 of a second. Unbelievably tight. And you know that racing action is going to be no doubt just as intense all throughout this race for 150 laps this afternoon. Let's take a rundown of your official starting grid as we are set to duke it out for the championship finale. Starting this race from pole position, you're going to have none other than Nick Nickerson himself. Scott Shire starts alongside him on the front row. Aaron Smith makes his return for the finale. He starts third. Final four driver, Dalton Kilrow, the first of the runners, is in fourth, and less than 0.03 of a second behind him is Benjamin Lacey. Tony Hilbrands is back in sixth, so playoff drivers in fourth, fifth, and sixth this afternoon. Justin Ping, the final one, back down to the number 8 spot with Kevin Fox alongside him in 8th. Sean Williams, Michael Thorpe Jr. round out the top 10.
11th, we have Brian Dees. 12th, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. 13th is going to be Ty Marasco. 14th, David Leakey. 15th is JC Greenwell. 16th, Connor Gibson. 17th is going to be Paul Zatmary, with 18th being Bob Berry. 19th is going to be Austin McGill with Steve Ulrich in 20th, and then Michael Ashmore rounding out the 21 car field, which is a great number to have here tonight for the final race of the season.
It's a great field for that last race of the championship. Folks, hedge your bets. We've only got one driver waiting on the grid, and they'll make that two. Austin McGill and Tony Hilbrands now make that just McGill. And Austin McGill not going to make the call. So 20 cars will roll out from Homestead-Miami Speedway. I tell you what, I mean, this race, you can feel the tension brewing. It's only going to take one mistake from either of these drivers, and it's worth noting, there's no bonus points, right? There's no bonus points for wins previously in the season. It is just reset, dead on 4,000. Winner takes all. You don't have to win. You just need to finish ahead of the other three.
Yeah, you need to finish ahead of the other three, but that is going to be a lot to ask from these guys tonight. I think that we are in for a heck of a show because all four of these guys so far tonight have put in epic times to put themselves right next to each other to try and finish ahead of each other. So you're going to see a lot of elbows out and a lot of aggressive driving out of these guys tonight.
Working down in the turn numbers 3 and 4. Nick Nickerson, a driver that probably should be fighting up here in the Final Four this afternoon, but he'll have to go for the last bits of glory all on his lonesome. Will be leading this field to the green flag. We are happy that you are joining us here on a very beautiful Monday night. It's sad that this season is going to go, but hey, don't be sad that it's ending. Be happy that we are getting to see such a thrilling finale. One final time, say it with me, off of turn number 4 from Miami. It's go, go, go! Off of turn number 4, Nick Nickerson leads lap number 1 to green. Benjamin Lacey and Dalton Kilrow side by side for the points lead. Down to the turn number 1, Lacey's got it early on.
Benjamin Lacey looking to the inside, sliding up the track a little bit, coming out of turn number 2, but he's got about a car split now between him and Dalton Kilrow. Nice little gap, but look at Hilbrands looking to the inside of Kilrow. Also fighting for the championship tonight, looking down to the inside. It seems like that lower line seems to be working well for them.
The intensity is so big right now. The final 4, all under a blanket. Scott Shire takes the points lead early on. He'll hightail away with this one at the very head of the field. And he took that one with style coming off of turn number 2. Just got a great run down the backstretch, and Nickerson let him have it early on.
Yeah, Shire taking a pretty commanding lead right there off the beginning. 0.36 ahead of Nick Nickerson right now. This is the settle-in phase. You got out all the rust and got out cleanly amongst your opponents at that checkered first green flag run here. So they're going to stretch out a little bit, try and conserve those tires as we approach the first pit stop.
Yeah, first pit stop, no doubt, not going to be too far away as the whole pack is currently sizing themselves up with a huge dogfight down the back straightaway. It looks like we might be having some technical problems. There we go. We got things back. But right now, Benjamin Lacey still leads the way at the head of this field. And as we say this, Austin McGill has joined the fray. Down to the tail end of this one, the number 99 car will be rejoining this race about a lap down. He is going to get himself back up at a full running, hopefully before too long. Looking like he may have just missed the call, some sort of technical issue or something of that nature. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin to the inside of Ty Marasco, and he'll look to steal away the 12th position.
12th position getting stolen away there, and these guys are finding their ways around the track, trying to find that groove that works out the best for them. And it seems like that apron groove, that first line there, is going to be pretty good. Either that or about that second car line up, especially as the tires begin to wear. We're going to see those guys slide up the track a little bit as they try and find that grip and maintain the tire balance on these cars.
On board with Dalton Kilroe, the number 7 runner, currently right behind Dustin Ping. No moves being made early on. Right now, the entirety of this championship pack sitting single file. Nobody's looking to make these moves too early on. I think a lot of drivers here might be setting themselves up for the long run, right? It's 150 laps. It's longer than the usual races we've seen around this place. So you know that these guys are thinking long term. They know it's not one early on. They've come 21 races to have that conclusion in their heads.
Yeah, it's been a culmination of great performances throughout the season that's brought them to this point. And the other thing is, too, right now is the leaderboard's easy for us to call. If the race were to go check for this lap, this order you see on the screen right here would be exactly at the top 4 finish. So just keeping an eye out on that throughout the track tonight. But, man, each of these guys deserve that spot at the top of the pack.
No kidding, they really do. And right now, Tony Hilbrands wants it, looking to the inside. Tony Hilbrands to the point of the championship fight. He gets to the inside of Benjamin Lacey. Lacey, though, battling back around the top shelf. It's not for the win, but it is for the win of the overall title at season's end. Hilbrands is up to the number 4 position.
Hilbrands overtaking Lacey there. Lacey got out there a little bit wider. I think he was just making sure he gave Hilbrands plenty of room. It's way too early to be battling for the final spot here. So a lot of these guys are going to be having wide berths for their opponents out there on the field. So it looks like we had somebody taking damage repairs in the pits.
Yeah, Connor Gibson looking like he may have actually found the wall. You see how much damage he had on the left side of that machine. We'll try and see if we can figure out where this came about. It would have been coming onto the back straightaway and rolling the wreck in here. This is coming off of turn 2. Whoa, loose on the back end and just snapped hard into the wall.
That was a very hard snap of oversteer coming out of that corner. Great correction, but obviously straight into the wall, so he's going to have to use his fast repair really early on, and that drops him all the way down into 21st already. So not a great night for him in that singular car.
And there you see Benjamin Lacey trying to see if he can't size up a move to get around Tony Hilbrands back for the lead. He is going to drop back. But Lacey is a driver that is clearly not content to be sitting around there. He's got to be dealing a lot, though, with that sun, that glare coming out of turn number 4. And we're going to dive it back down to the turn number 1. Hilbrands way to the outside, and that's going to be a pass that could be for the points lead. Contact! Hilbrands up the racetrack in 2.
Hilbrand's not giving any room to Lacey there, and I think that's just because he knows what happens if he can let Lacey go. So you really have to challenge Lacey, because if you let him get in front of you, you may not have another opportunity there. So it looks like we got somebody running the wall through 3 and 4 there.
It's Michael Thorpe Jr. way at the tail end of this field that almost got up and into the outside wall as everything right now is kicking off and looking like Hilbrands might be looking back to the inside of Lacey before too long. This is the pass that Lacey made down in the turn numbers 1 and 2. Hilbrands pinched him in. Lacey never moved off of that bottom lane, and Hilbrands got shifted up towards the outside wall.
Yeah, I think Hilbrands just had a tough time keeping him pinched down there and ended up creating that issue that caused him to back off a little bit, but we're 13 laps in, so he's got plenty of time to make that up, and I'm sure he'll get his chance here again as he's looking to be inside once again, inside of Benjamin Lacey, going through turns 1 and 2 to re-overtake his spot back on the top of the leaderboard.
Meanwhile, Dustin Ping and Dalton Kilroe sitting idly by. They are doing their antagonist chuckling right now, watching these two burn up their tires by trying to race side by side. I think Lacey's trying to set up a pass to get around Aaron Smith up the road. Hey, look at that, Aaron Smith. I just realized, finally, with some sponsorship on that car, is that Borelli on the side of that machine. We used to see him run all yellow. Not this time. Lacey trying to make that run for the podium to put a bit of a buffer zone between him and the 92 Mopar.
Yeah, no yellow submarine this week for Smith there, the iconic car that did the famous donuts last week in Darlington that made the highlight reel. So after that great race last week, it was awesome to see him out there. And once again, he did this at Darlington too. He dropped back a couple of spots in the first stint and then found himself back towards the front as the race progressed. So I think this is going to be another shot for Aaron Smith to do a repeat of Darlington.
You know, I'm not sure if this is exactly what happened, but I like to think what just happened there is he realized, oh, Lacey wants to use me as a buffer zone, and then moves it to the high side. No, we can go ahead. Go on. Fight for your championship. I'm not going to get in the way here. And that's why he found himself with Tony Hilburns up the road. Again, not sure if that's what happened there, but it wouldn't make sense considering what we just saw. Dustin Payne, Dalton Kilwell, they're going side by side for the third place in the championship spot. And right now on the racetrack for 6, down to the turn number 1.
Dalton Kilwell poking his nose to the inside of Dustin Ping here. It looks like he might get the momentum he needed through that corner, but that high side has really good momentum exiting that corner. Look at that speed coming out of the corner, leaving Dalton Kilrow in the dust. So now Dalton Kilrow is going to have to look to the inside again as Dustin Ping takes the high side once again. And coming out of the corner this time, it goes to Dalton Kilrow as he nearly takes the nose off of Dustin Ping.
Yeah, that was almost a disaster for 2 of the final 4 runners. Ping going way up to that outside line. This really is a multi-groove racetrack, right? You got the inside line and the outside line. And Dustin Ping right now favoring the top shelf as they fire down the backstretch for the 17th time tonight. Michael Thorpe Jr. waited in the wings, seeing if he can't go for the over-under on the 81 as well, coming off the 4.
Yeah, as we see right now, that low line is still working well for these tires. They haven't worn quite enough for these guys to make that high line really probable to use for passing or even defending opportunities just yet. But they're going to have that opportunity here in a handful of laps as the tires begin to wear.
Further down the field, Taylor Butcher-Benjamin and Jason Greenwell going to exchange hands as Greenwell makes his look to the inside, and that'll put BC Sim Sport number 83 up and into the 11th place spot. Scott Shire has been kept honest by Nick Kerson ever since he took the race lead away some time ago. And that 2 car, I thought for a moment he was going to make a look for that spot. He opted against it, but I feel like he might not be totally comfortable running in that number 2 spot. He might be looking to get to the front here again before long.
Nick Nickerson tends to go that way, a little more conservative in this front stint because he's trying to figure out the car as it's going around the track, trying to figure out his opponents and what their moves are going to be, and maybe use them as the kind of the guideline to see where the grip is on the track. So Nick Nickerson kind of doing his typical thing of riding in second for a little while to gauge the competition before he really takes his opportunity to pass these guys for the lead.
Jason Greenwell sizing up another one, and now he's going to try to attack Sean Williams. So Jason Greenwell picks off another one and put Greenwell back into the top 10 of this final race at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So Greenwell gets around Sean Williams, not too much struggle there. Michael Thorpe Jr. struggling down low. All of a sudden, Greenwell looking to go way around the high side. We're also less than 10 laps away from the pit stop window opening for the first time.
Yeah, Greenwell putting on a great performance here tonight. A little bit of a late bloomer when it's come to this season so far. So maybe setting himself up for a nice little momentum boost going into next season. It looks like he's beginning to understand this car a bit more and is growing in the area of experience as he is able to overtake Thorpe.
So the field working itself off of turn numbers 3 and 4 once again down into turn number one. I'm curious on what happened to Michael Thorpe Jr. there, because he was really slow coming off of turn 4. Whoa, boy, look out! Holy cow! The step out and the save for the number 34. That is a right and a half.
This guy never ceases to impress me with his ability to save these cars. I thought for sure that was going to chunk into the inside wall there and ruin his day.
Holy.
He's able to catch it and fully recover, just losing just a little bit of time out the track.
Take another look at this and just look at how far sideways this car gets here. That thing was about to snap oversteer and go into the inside wall rear end first, but that is some car control. He didn't even get down to the paint.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I don't think I could tell you of another single driver in this field tonight that could possibly have saved that wheel other than Thorpe Jr. He's just had astronomical saves this season in ways that I can't even possibly imagine. And that has allowed him to be ultra aggressive with this car and its driving because he's had the ability to recover from it. So he can give this car 110%, knowing that if he does overdrive it just enough where it gets loose that he can save it.
Benjamin Lacey has been slowly pulling out a gap here on Tony Hilbrand's Dalton Kilroe and Dustin Ping. The gap right now about a second, although it gets a little sideways there in turn 2, and that allows for Hilbrands to reel in about half a tenth. So right now, Benjamin Lacey is struggling just a little bit, but right now his position is pretty secure. I don't see many reasons for him to need to be too worried about it. Aaron Smith is going to try to attack Dalton Kilroe there, although he'll think better of it off of 4.
Yeah, Lacey just, he's got we got somebody trying to dive into the pits. It looks like Kevin Foster, I believe, that's jumped into the pits a little early, got a little fast coming off of turn number 4 there. This is another one of those tracks that can be pretty tricky to get off of the track and down onto the apron and down to speed in enough time to not incur a penalty.
It's very early to come down to pit road, isn't it? I mean, we're still about 3 laps from the pit window actually opening up.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly where that's going to put him there. I would have tried to make it to lap 30 if at all possible, because that breaks this race out into nice even chunks. But we got 3 wide here with Williams, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and I believe that was Ty Marasco on the top side there. But anyway, back to the story of green flag pit stops. If you would have waited till 30, that would have broken these out into more even chunks. So now he's going to have to alter his strategy a little bit to make it through to the final stop.
So Kevin Foster is in early. Scott Shire up the road, still runs in the race lead. He has been in the lead ever since he took it away from Nick Christin on just the second lap of that race, and he has led every single lap quite comfortably since. Nick was looking to give him a little bit of pressure, but he has since backed off a touch here. We are now right going to be when that fuel window opens up. So now it's a game of chicken for the final 4. Who pits first and tries to go for the undercut?
Yeah, the strategy is going to be interesting. I think if I were those guys, I would be shooting for the overcut tonight, especially because of how tricky the end lap is for the pit cycle. You might have some cautions breeding out as these guys try to navigate the track to make their way down into pit lane or out of pit lane, coming back on the track this first cycle. So I think the best bet here would be to go for the overcut, try and beat out your opponents out on the track.
Nobody from the final 4 pitting in this time by, and nobody from further down this field either. So all's well ends well. We are now officially at the 1/5 mark of this race. So pit window open in earnest, and these guys can go about 29 to 33 thereabouts. So we could see them stay out for a lap or 2 more yet.
Yeah, these guys are definitely pulling the overcut strategy here. I think based on everything else we've seen so far this season, the High Tide Racing League is really notorious for green flag racing. So these guys are banking on that tradition tonight to try and make sure that they are in the right position strategy-wise to be in the best place they can be tonight, finishing out this race.
Backstretch of lap 31. Will we see anybody coming in this time? Race leaders still in control of the road, not seeing any slowing of the pace up in turn 4. And we're going to stay out again. Now Thor practically up and into the outside wall there. He actually may have hit the outside wall coming through turn 4 the last time by.
Man, the longer these guys can stay out, the better it's going to be for them in the long run, because then they can have the freshest possible tires as we approach the final laps of the race. So great job by them to be able to conserve their vehicles for this entire stint to make it so that they're able to stay out even longer.
Nobody coming in for the top bunch. Dustin Ping will be the first one to blink. So it's one of the final 4 drivers, Dustin Ping, gambling on an undercut strategy a lap before the rest.
Dustin Ping heading down pit lane. The other nice thing when you get down here too for a green flag stop is you're all by yourself, so that gives you a wide open berth for making sure you execute a good green flag stop. The rest of these guys, if they're going for the same strategy, they're all going to be down there in a crowded pit lane, which could cost them a lot of time. So I like Dustin Ping's strategy to come in just a lap early as we got the rest of the guys coming down pit lane right now.
Everybody so far coming into pit road, and no problem so far from the rest of the field coming on down. Benjamin Lacey is in. Kilroe and Hilbrand staying out. They're going for the overcut strategy.
So now we got 3 different strategies from the 4 different leaders, and that's going to really make things complicated for us tonight. Even though it's just about a lap or 2 difference between towards the end of the race, that might even grow just a little bit more. So 3 different strategies from the 4 different championship contenders tonight. Oh, as I stand corrected, 5 different strategies, because it looks like Hilbrand's finally came into pit. And Kilroe's still out there.
Kilroe's still up on the racetrack. He has just lapped Benjamin Lacey. Benjamin Lacey, as it stands, I believe will end up being the net race leader at the end of this whole thing. Dustin Ping way in the back now. He has lost a lot of time as a result of this. Here comes Dalton Kilroe coming down into pit road. Steve Hallberg, you see, has found the wall somewhere as well. Tony Hilbrand's just now leaving pit road. So Hilbrand's out in front, and now we'll see what he can do. Now here's the critical thing. Do you want to know why Benjamin Lacey was able to get so far so quickly? He took 2 tires. He did not take 4.
Wow, that's going to be an interesting strategy call from him to only go for the 2-tire strategy right out the gate. We've seen so far this season that if you go for an alternate tire strategy after the first run, it could come back to bite you later. So, so far these guys are on wildly different strategies, and it's really going to change the trajectory of this race as it progresses.
Well, Tony Hilbrand is already there. That may have been the wrong call for Benjamin Lacey, because here's Tony Hilbrand already flying up on him, not just on 4 fresh tires, but his tires are even fresher than that of Lacey. Hilbrand drives it underneath him, and he will get to the point of this race. Now, I think here is the other problem that we're going to be seeing so far throughout the course of the afternoon. And, of course, it could be a very significant problem, and the reason why we see Lacey only taking 2 tires on this stop. There are 4 total pit stops that we need throughout the race, right? But there's only 3 sets of tires. So Lacey is gambling by taking 2 tires on each of one of his pit stops, then taking 4 for the others, as opposed to the others who are going to gamble on a fuel-only stop.
Wow, that's going to be a wild strategy call. We'll have to see which one plays out at the end, but pretty smart by Lacey to go with that route of doing two tire stops and instead of skipping a 4-tire stop altogether.
Steve Hallberg with problems off of pit road. The number 52 machine pulling off to the inside immediately after he got out of pit road and then brought it down to the inside, and that was that. So a mystery as to what happened to Steve Ulrich on that incident. There you see Dustin Ping going by Benjamin Lacey. You know, the 2-2, it's an unorthodox strategy, but it has yielded results before. The last time I remember this actually working was about a year ago with the GMGG IEL Truck Series. And that race, Aaron Raymond did the exact same thing. Only took 2 tires repeatedly throughout the course of the race. He would have won by about 20 seconds if a yellow hadn't come out with 3 laps to go, forcing the race into overtime. Scott Shire to the lead. Nickerson did not take tires on his pit stop.
Nickerson choosing to skip the tires on this first stop here, and you can see the gap building between him and Shire. And then the other one too, Benjamin Lacey is dropping like a rock with this 2-tire strategy. It's really going to be painful for him to watch right now as he's out there on 2 fresh and 2 worn tires.
Big time sideways moment there for Lacey, coming off of turn number 2 as well. So you can tell he is struggling right now to try and keep that real Earth Films Dodge underneath him. I'm willing to bet he probably took 2 right side tires. That makes sense. Those are the 2 tires that would burn off the quickest. But I don't know. This is going to be an interesting strategy to see if this pays off. It is possible to make it work, but you have to rely on the race going green.
Yeah, you have to rely on the race going green. I think the other thing is, too, to think about is we're going into the nighttime stint of this race, and as that happens, the track cools off, which means the tires aren't going to wear as much. So a lot of these guys you'll probably see wait until the third stint to replace or to do the double stint on tires, because of the fact that that's where the tires are probably going to wear the least as the track's beginning to cool
that's
off.
not going to help if he gets into the wall like that.
He seems he's struggling a lot right now to contain
Whoa,
that car.
look out, Thorpe!
Thorpe getting a little sideways coming out of the corner, able to recover it. Benjamin Lacey nearly a victim of that little move right there by Thorpe. So good save by him and good job by Lacey to stay out of it. And Lacey's really struggling right now with this 2-tire strategy.
Just got sideways. Thought for a moment he was turned across the nose of Aaron Smith, and that has got to be a heart stopper, seeing that car started to brake sideways in front of you. For yet another time, Michael Thorpe Jr. Puts the fear of God into the pack around him. Watch the wheel work here off of turn 2. Again, that car is wrecking big time, and how he managed to keep it underneath him is beyond me. This is what Lacey saw. You heard him lifting. He thought for sure he was going to overcorrect.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to be smashing into the wall as well and taking out the other 2 drivers behind him. But once again, Thorpe is the master of recoveries from overdrives like that. So not totally surprised that he was able to recover from that there. But, man, that was a close call for Lacey. Look how far Lacey's dropped compared to his competitors just a cycle ago.
When you take a look at the last several laps, I mean, he's losing about 1.5 seconds at least every single lap. He did lose almost 3 seconds on lap 42, but that was because he hit the wall and, of course, had Thorpe get sideways in front of him. But, yeah, about 1.5 seconds lost every lap. That is a devastating blow. He could actually be going a lap down here by the time the second pit stop window rolls around.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the worst case scenario for Benjamin Lacey, because he's going to have to do this again after he goes down, because he's definitely going to have to do another 2-tire stop. Everybody else has the 4-stopper and then or 4-tire stop, and then the double stint with that opportunity. But for him, he's virtually got to do that twice now. So I think he's really regretting this 2-tire stop decision.
You can see on the track map, pretty much exactly half a lap right now behind your race leader, Scott Shire, just a little bit over half a lap behind. So they're on opposite corners of the racetrack, and that's not going to be a good sign for him in the slightest. While all that's been going on, David Leakey just came down to pit road for his second stop of the night. Was in the pits for 14 seconds, and now he gets that U.S. Army machine back out onto the racetrack. Again, an early pit stop, but he's far from the first driver to commit to that, so we'll see where this leads.
Yeah, Leakey taking an early stop here. Well, it's pretty far off cycle, I'd say, from the rest of these guys. So he must have had something in his car that was not going well for him. So he decided to come in a little bit early to tweak the settings a bit, or tweak his, maybe get new tires on there, get him back out there. But that put him way off cycle from everybody else.
So all around, the championship battle continuing to escalate. You know, we had a poll going in our YouTube chat over who people are picking for the title. A lot of people picked Benjamin Lacey, 8 out of 10 votes so far. That one for Tony, one for Dustin. I wonder, though, if potentially some of those people might be looking to change their votes after the developments that we've seen with Lacey's strategy.
Yeah, this Lacey strategy sounded smart from an engineer perspective, but as we can tell, the actual measurements on the track are not voting in his favor. So he's got a really bad back foot that he's on right now, and he's going to need a caution or two to close that gap between him and the leaders. He's going to need one soon before he gets lapped, and then he's going to need another one later on when he has fresher tires and can overcome the deficit he's created for himself.
Kevin Foster back into pit road, and this is of no surprise. He pitted this far off cycle on his last pit stop as well, so he is in again, and again taking 4 tires and fuel, it looks like. So the number 8 car in for his second stop of this afternoon. Ryan Dees and Ty Marasco, 2 drivers that used to be in the playoff running, then MMR teammates side by side. Marasco catches the wall, and David Leakey looking to unlap himself from all 3 of these drivers.
Yeah, David Leakey looking to unlap himself with the fresh rubber here. And then you got Dees and Marasco, Team MFRD teaming up. This is something, as we see him going 3 wide, Leakey's trying to split the gap between the 2 MFRD teammates.
Whoa,
and Ty Marasco bounces off the wall, shoves his way down to the inside of the track. Now up alongside. He gets tight, and there he goes again. Contact with Leakey. He's really struggling to keep the car around on him right now. Coming out of turn number 4, he's able to save it.
Somehow that doesn't lead to our first caution of the night. There you can see Leakey unlapping himself from Dustin Ping, and I think he's breathing a huge sigh of relief right now. Nick Nickerson, a driver that did not take any tires under that stop, is also into pit road, but 10 laps shy of when that pit window is opening up again. I think he's regretting taking that fuel stop so early.
Yeah, I think that was a tough decision for him to come down so early last time. It's going to throw him off that cycle. He might actually have to do a fuel conservation run here before too long. It looks like he's going to take tires this time, so he's going to have a pretty quick car coming out of the pits.
So 4 tires and fuel for Nick Nickerson. No surprises there. 3 distinct battles on the racetrack. You've got Dustin Ping, Brian Dees, Ty Marasco, and further down the pack, you got Paul Sapmary, Austin McGill, and Benjamin Lacey. Lacey now down to 14th and 26 seconds off of the leaders. It is worth noting that he will be able to reel in a significant gap whenever the rest of the pack does come in for their 4 tires and fuel stop, but he's fallen back so far, you have to ask yourself, is it going to be fast enough? McGill grinding the wall along the outside fence.
Yeah, McGill struggling to ride that high line there. That's that Larson line's famous, and a lot of it's because of how tough it is to actually try and maintain that close to the wall throughout a turn without actually hitting the wall. It takes a lot of experience and skill from the driver to pull that off.
Benjamin Lacey into pit road for his second stop of the night. 5 laps shy of when the pit window would open. No doubt he probably took only just enough fuel in order to get the 2 tires on, and that was it. So he's coming in a little bit short. He's going to go 4 tires this time. He's got an extra set of left sides in the box, I'd have to imagine. But now he's on a fresh set of Goodyears that can start to reel the gap in.
He is on the fresh set of Goodyears, but about 5 laps short. The thing that we have noticed too is that they were able to go about 5 laps past 30. So 35 laps is about the max that they can pull off, which means he can make up that gap with extended runs here.
Rookie Dustin Pink in Final Four contender into the outside wall in turn 4. He's going to drop 2 positions, and that costs him about 1.5 seconds on this last lap. So that's not the mistake that he was looking to have. Right now, Tony Hilbrand's leading the way in the championship. He sits 2 seconds behind your race leader, Scott Shire, up the road. And about 1.5 seconds behind him is Dalton Kilrow.
So we have 2 championship contenders right now at lap 57 that are experiencing extreme difficulties in order to maintain their spot at the top of the leaderboard for this season finale at Homestead-Miami. So 2 guys that are on their back foot right now if they want to win this championship.
MFRD teammates Brian Dees and Ty Marasco once again looking to go at it. Marasco off the wall in turn 4. Nearly loops it on the front straightaway. Let his teammate close in, and Brian Dees trying to go around the outside into turn number 1.
Ty Marasco really struggling with his car's comfortability. Oh, as he gets loose again coming out of turn number 2. He's just really struggling right now to maintain composure of that car. He needs to start considering his options of coming down to the pit lane to get off of those tires because, man, right now he is struggling to keep it straight in front of him, and he's going to be the first caution for tonight if he's not too careful.
Over 1/3 of the way through this race, and still not a single caution flag in sight. This time, Brian Dees covers off the outside, making sure his teammate can't get a run going on him. But it's now all eyes onto those playoff contenders. When do we see them come down to pit road?
Should see him coming down shortly here, but if they made it to lap 35-ish before coming down pit lane, that's going to put them around 70 laps before they come down the next time. And you know these guys are going to try and go for the overcut strategy here, because the other cool thing when you do that overcut strategy is you can extend or shorten your life of your used tire set there, so that gives you about a 5-10 lap window there to play with throughout the pit window, so that way you can take 10 last laps on those used tires. So we might see that strategy from these guys to do that double stint and then undercut that second double stint on the tires to try and get them off as soon as possible.
Lap 60, second pit window officially open, though we saw most of the pack pitting between laps 32 and 34, so expecting laps 64 to 66 for this incoming run. If these drivers are looking to stretch the fuel out all the way to the end, and like you mentioned, they're going to be trying to see how far they can push, that you don't lose anything in making sure that you try to stretch the gap here. Because, hey, if you do have to take a splash and go at the end and the fuel only stop, that means you're in the pits for less, which means you can get out even further ahead of the drivers that are going to be running you down on some fresh rubber.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. You want to try and minimize your fuel at the end because that means shorter pit stops, especially with these green flag runs that we've had so far this High Tide Racing League season. Those splash and goes are detrimental to green flag stops because that is 1 or 2 seconds in the pit stop that you can save yourself by having a less fuel to fill up with, and which means 1 or 2 seconds on the track. And if you look right now, that's the difference between Tony Hilbrand's being second and Tony Hilbrand's being first. So you think about that on the track and in the pits, and it really plays into those strategy calls.
Dees and Marasco continuing to see who will be the one to take this one away. There you see Nick Dickerson working his way through on the bottom. The Coors Light number 2 Mustang looking to unlap himself after he pitted a little while ago already, all the way back on lap 51. Oh, both MFRD cars are into the wall that last time by, and Marasco nearly looping the back end again, coming through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Marasco really struggling to keep that car underneath him right now. I think he just needs to go in and try and get some fresh tires on that car, because he is having a hard time right now taking care of that vehicle. And before too long, he's going to be the start of this next caution. But knowing Ty, he's the guy that likes to run long, so I imagine we won't be seeing him making any early moves down in the pit stop, because he's going to try and extend that out as long as he can.
Dalton Kilmer has caught Tony Hilbrands. This is the battle to see who could come out on top for the points lead. Kilrow round the outside of Hilbrands, trying to see if he can't pick him off. And right now, he's trying to work for it right now. Both of these drivers took fresh 4 tires on their last pit stops. Dalton Kilrow's tires 1 lap newer.
Dalton Kilrow taking that longer run last time. I imagine he's going to go for that same strategy here. He's going to have to look to the outside to get that little bit of momentum swing, but Hilbrands is going to have to shut the door on that top side going down the back stretch or front stretch and force him down to the inside if he wants to make the pass. But at this time, those tires are getting worn enough that it's going to be really hard to pass on the inside. So Hilbrands sliding to the inside in 1 and 2, and then sliding right up against the wall going down the back stretch. That is the perfect defensive strategy if he wants to keep Kilrow behind him.
Continuing to run with that MFRD number 41 just in the wings. He has now reached the threshold of where he ran on his last pit stop run. He'll go for 1 more. So about right on cue, this is where we'd expect to see that 92 Mopar come into pit road. And on cue as well, Dustin Ping will pit in for his second stop of the night. He took 4 tires last time. Is this where he goes for fuel only, or will he take more Goodyears?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough call. I think if I were him, I would go for 4 freshies this time, and then go for the double stint this next stop.
So Dustin Ping into pit road. Behind, there's Aaron Smith coming into pit road. Deeper in the field, the Borelli machine for the Monte Carlo is in. The MFRD duo staying out. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is in for 1 more. Dalton Kilrow backing off from Tony Hilbrands. Well, they're still off of turn number 2, and there's Nickerson trying to unlap himself.
Nickerson making momentum to get himself unlapped. He is the first car lapped down, so caution now means that he will be the lucky dog driver. Benjamin Lacey is and Dustin Ping now are both a lap down, with a couple cars ahead of them that are laps down as well. Looks like MFRD's coming in for some pits. And
Tony Hilbrands in just up the road. So all bar 1 of the final 4 have pitted now. Waiting to see where Dalton Kilrow will pit in at. He's currently entering turn numbers 3 and 4. I imagine Dalton Kilrow will try and come this lap or next. I gotta imagine that it's gonna be probably this lap. It seems like he's slowing up. Nope, he's gonna go ahead and go around 1 more time. So great job by Dalton Kilrow to maintain his fuel, to extend his trip to the pits. It's now lap 70. That's just gonna benefit him later on in this race. Around you see more cars heading their way out of pit road. There's your race leader, Scott Shire, to the pits, and oh boy, nearly getting into with Sean Williams on the entry to pit road. So the number 4 Phenom Paint Shop machine is in. Good show for him. And of course, now that just leaves some fierce side-by-side battles behind. There goes Benjamin Lacey getting around Tom Marasco. Marasco trying to get him back on fresh tires. And here comes Dustin Ping with him. And all of a sudden, Benjamin Lacey on the back foot, even though he took fresh 4s on the last stop. Dustin Ping getting around Benjamin Lacey. So Benjamin Lacey falling back into 4th place. I don't think that this is what people were expecting here tonight, to see Lacey struggle to be the guy that was at the top here tonight. So big concerns and questions for him, as he's now sitting 7th place for this race. Dalton Kilrow in for his pit stop. He's also going to take the 4 tires this go around. And all that will give Tony Hilbrands back the points lead. The 92 car clears in a turn number 1. So right now, championship order. Hilbrands on fresh tires is out in front. Kilrow about half a straightaway behind is currently the second runner. He's got Scott Shire between himself and Hilbrands. And then you got Dustin Ping right behind Kilrow and chasing him down And then Benjamin Lacey still on the back foot, also on 4 fresh tires, but they're about 15 laps older than everybody else in the field, so he's going to continue to slip back.
Yeah, Benjamin Lacey is just not in a good position tonight. I think this is going to be safe to say, unless there's quite a few cautions that can save Benjamin Lacey, that his championship run may end right here based on that decision to only go for 2 tires. But we have yet to see anybody else try that 2-tire option, and we haven't seen really anybody go for that double stint option either to see if that was the right move to go in that direction. I think here in this next stop is going to be the stint to go to decide if you're going to double stint or if you're going to go for the last one. But I imagine most people are going to go for this next green flag stop and take that double stint then.
So far the field continuing to battle their way around and through this field. We're going to take ourselves a quick step back. We are green flag racing with no problem so far. Tony Hilbrand leads the championship.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
An absolutely fierce dogfight underway between Brian Dees and Ty Marasco as they fight it out for the 4th place spot. Dalton Cora has taken not just the points lead, but the championship lead A slight asterisk on that, though. When Tony Hilbrands took his pit stop, it was the fuel-only stop, so that's why he was so slow on the racetrack right now. The whole field, except for Lacey, still has to take one more fuel-only stop as well. So all this time is time that he's going to be able to get back later in the game.
Well, this is a great indicator of whether the two-tire strategy or the tire double stint is going to pay off. And it looks like Benjamin Lacey is closing that gap between him and Hilbrands. Here is the battle between Hilbrands and Kilroe, fighting for that position. Kilroe able to overtake it, and here comes Kilroe overtaking Nick Nickerson as well to take the lead.
Just sweep that one around the outside. Nothing that the number 2 car could do about it. You mentioned this being the chance to see if Lacey can close the gap. I would agree if it weren't for one small thing. Lacey is 15 laps off cycle, and he's due to pit within 5 laps here. So even if he gets around him, it's not going to be for very long. I think Lacey has shot himself in the foot by coming in early on that second pit stop.
Yeah, it was a wild gamble to make that assessment, but sometimes you have to try and find that little niche in the strategy plan to give yourself the edge on your opponents. And that was the gamble that he was trying to take by doing the two-tire stop. It obviously didn't pay off for him, so he's going to need a lot of dice to roll his direction if he's going to try and recover from this.
Aaron Smith, Austin McGill under a blanket. Kevin Foster is still in there as well. There's Nickerson and Marasco looking to go around each other. And Marasco through again. Remember, Nick Nickerson also pitted 30 laps, over 30 laps ago. So he's going to be pitting in any time now. He might be pitting in this lap here. So the 2 cars off cycle from the leading group. There's a lot that is still yet to be decided in this race. And if you're one for wild races, well, we got a lot of them coming up on Green Flag TV. Tomorrow night, the OMSRL Cup Series swings out to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 6 of the championship at America's Home for Motorsports. The Beer League is down under at Phillip Island. And then the Speed Cup Series, once again, back for more action at the Michigan International Speedway.
We got some great stuff coming up here. I know the Speed Cup Series at Michigan is going to be a wild one, and then obviously Beer League is always entertaining to watch as well. It looks like Kevin Foster, the guy that's kind of been setting the pace for these early stops, he's coming down for his next stint here, and we'll have to see what he can do with coming down so early. It's really thrown him out of his groove. And we got Dustin Ping sitting up here in second, just 4.3 seconds behind Dalton Kilroe.
You have to wonder, I mean, when's the shoe going to drop? Next pit stop's only going to be about 10 laps away. Ty Marasco up into the outside wall trying to get around Dustin Ping. So he's going to, once again, do some more damage to the right front of that Mustang. Into pit road is Nick Nickerson.
Nick Nickerson getting down to his next stop here. A little bit off cycle, and a lot of these guys have gotten off cycle so far tonight. I think it's just between the car comfortability and when they decided to do their different stints for doing their double stints with tires and just being comfortable in that car, I think has been a real driver tonight for when these guys decided to come down for pit.
Oh boy, 3 wide down the front straightaway. Dustin Ping, Ty Marasco, both going to lap Michael Thorpe Jr. And Marasco tried to drive that one in around the outside to pick off the 81. Ping still holding the bottom. Look out! Marasco gets loose and nearly takes him out.
Wow, that was a big loose moment and nearly taking out the championship contender right there. Ty Marasco overdriving it, coming out of the corner, just barely missed the rear end of Dustin Ping. So Dustin Ping taking his lucky stars as he'll get another chance to continue his way around Homestead-Miami.
The battling continuing to rage on. Tony Hilbrands is into pit road. He took fuel only on the last pit stop, and he has just taken his trip down to the pits. There goes Marasco to get around the outside of Dustin Ping. Ping still fighting to the bottom lane, not willing to let this go. Sean Williams putting it 3-1 up the middle, unlapping himself in a lot of them after he came through pit road.
Sean Williams flying through that open gap between Dustin Ping, Ty Marasco to make it 3 wide through that corner there. Great job by those guys to keep it clean. Dustin Ping looking once again down to the inside of Ty Marasco. So Marasco taking the lead right now as the cars continue to cycle through pit lane.
Goodness gracious. I mean, this race is kicking into overdrive. It's not often you get a race this thrilling on a 1.5 miles without there being a single caution to break it up. And all of it is just coming around through the pit stops. Kilroe's into the pits. Shire's into the pits. Greenwell comes into the pits. Last two on the racetrack, Dustin Ping and Dalton Kilroe. In fact, Kilroe came down, so that does leave Ping as the last man standing.
Yeah, Kilroe going with the strategy of doing the double stint and then undercutting that double stint to get off those more tires as fast as possible. So now Dalton Kilroe gonna have fresh tires for the rest of the, obviously fresh tires throughout a stint. He's not gonna have to do that double stint anymore.
Well, not quite. Fuel only on this stop, so no fresh tires for this stint.
Okay, I stand corrected then. I guess I must have got it backwards, but he definitely took the undercut strategy from this pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. So only 90 laps in, and he had already been down to pit lane, which means that he definitely took a shorter cycle through there.
Bob Berry, haven't talked about him much tonight. He is currently into pit road with damage on the right side of his number 75 entry. So Marasco up the road into the wall again. He just cannot leave that outside wall alone. What beef did that wall say to the number 1 car, right? He must have said something about his mother with the way he keeps trying to body it down.
Yeah, I think so. And oh, there he goes again.
He's got like problems with this track.
Yeah, I think so. It's just must be a magnet up there that's attracting his car as he goes around the track. Looks like Ross Chastain in Martinsville when he tried to do the Hail Melon. And but I don't think it's really had the same cause and effect that this track does when you scrape that wall like that. But the black marks continuing around those turns is just showing how beat up that car is coming by riding that wall like that. Looking a little further back in the field, Hilbrand's now sitting in 12th with Benjamin Lacey in 10th. Maybe the two-tire strategy may pay off for Lacey, as it looks like Hilbrand's is now struggling a little bit behind him. But man, we got quite a few cars sitting a lap down as only the top 8 are still on the lead lap.
Tom Marasco continuing to lead the way up the road. Dustin Ping in second, Brian Dees in third, further behind. Still waiting to see when Ping will hit pit road. He last pitted on 66, so we can go at least until 96, if not further on. Quite possibly looking to stretch this thing to lap 100.
I really think he can make it to lap 100 if he tries. I've seen these guys extend it quite a bit tonight. Whoa, as there was a tight moment going there down the backstretch. Aaron Smith making the pass there, and great job by him to get it through that needle.
And oh boy, McGill bobbling loose. Oh dear. That is a nervy moment for sure. Let's ride on board. Yikes! Just barely squeaked through that. So Jason Greenwell and David Leakey going at it. They're going to flip-flop here in this one. There you see Jason Greenwell. He'll get through into the 15th spot. David Leakey running 16th just behind. Still waiting to see when Dustin Ping comes into the pit road. By this point, a good chunk of this field is off cycle from this number 81 car. Kilbro, of course, talked about him. He took the fuel-only strategy. Michael Thorpe Jr. took, I think, only 2 tires on the last stop, 12.9. in the box, and he's coming to pit road now once again.
Thorpe coming in for some more service here in the pit stop. I think he wanted to get off of these tires. But, well, no, that really doesn't throw him off the strategy. I think he's still kind of in that pit window strategy there. He isn't really too far off cycle, but Dustin Ping's still out on the track here. Can he push it to lap 100?
He'll cross onto lap 98 at least, so he's gone 32 laps now on this stint. Estimated he can go about one more, but of course our stats on the tracks have said he could go up to 2 or even 3 more laps before we see him come down to pit road. Thorpe taking 4 tires on this stop. He is back out onto the racetrack. So far, the only drivers that are fully out of this race, Michael Ashmore, Steve Ulrich, and Connor Gibson, are all for varying reasons. And here comes Dustin Ping, the final playoff contender.
Dustin Ping looking really hot right now with being the underdog to win this championship. So far sitting in 4th, entering into the pits. We still got a lot of racing ahead of us to really decide if that is going to be his fate tonight. But man, talk about a guy that's putting his best foot forward. I think Dustin Ping is giving himself a real shot.
Dalton Kilroe just about to cross the line now, and he will take up the number 5 position, and that'll be number 6 as Nickerson quickly gets around him. And fuel only for Dustin Ping. Sorry, 2 tires for Dustin Ping, as he will be 12 seconds in the box, about bang on. So some unique strategies started to kick off. Around him goes Benjamin Lacey. Dalton Kilroe still in the dogfight up the road as well. Right now, Kilroe is the only driver that is on old tires all the way around the race car. He is running 5th place, and Benjamin Lacey running 11 seconds behind him. 15 seconds behind Dalton Kilroe is Dustin Ping, and 18 seconds back is Tony Hilbrands.
Yeah, so the engineers out there, the strategists out there are taking a look to see between Lacey and Kilroe who's got the better strategy, and it looks like Dustin Ping's strategist decided to side with Benjamin Lacey when it comes to the 2-tire strategy. But we're going to find out here in a little bit if that's the call or not, because we've got Dalton Kilroe dropping back pretty significantly. We'll have to see if Lacey and Ping can catch him, because that'll be a really good indicator of which strategy is going to pay off for these guys.
Tom Marasco and Brian Dees both come to pit road, and that just leaves Taylor Butcher-Benjamin as the last one to pit. Lacey closed in another 3/4 of a second the last time by, so as you mentioned, losing out quite substantially. The only reason why he's not losing out more is because, of course, Benjamin Lacey so far off cycle. If you compare that instead to Tony Hilbrands here, he's losing, well, actually about the same amount. I thought it'd actually be more, but no, it's about the same amount there.
Yeah, and looking a little further back, Tony Hilbrands has dropped quite a bit back as well, and so he's sitting in 10th right now. And Ping, so you got Ping and Hilbrands kind of duking it out for the final 2 seats there in the championship as we stand right now. If the checker flag were to drop right now, but we have so many alternate strategies going on right now, it is really going to be hard to tell who's going to pay off in the end of this.
I think a lot of drivers have started to realize that if you just follow the strategy of the guy in front of you, you're not going to really go anywhere. You got to try to mix it up a little bit, try to get the jump on him, and some drivers are taking some pretty big gambles to see if this is going to work. Drivers like Dustin Ping, for example, 2-tire stop for the Ping Precision, the Ping Precision Motorsports, yes, but also for the Conrad Group Insurance number 81. It's a late call, though, to try to commit to the 2-stop strategy now, as opposed to doing that early in the race like Benjamin Lacey did. There goes Tony Hilbrands around his outside.
Tony Hilbrands around the outside of Dustin Ping, so he's overcome that position, which means that is another chance for Hilbrands to make his way towards the front of the track. And so great job by Hilbrands to be able to execute that pass. That's just another opponent, one less opponent he's got to worry about in his fight for the championship.
Ty Marasco and Brian Dees will exchange blows, and Ty Marasco puts himself up into the 5th position. Let's take a look at the pit strategy here throughout the duration of the runners so far. Austin McGill just came down to pit road now, so we'll try to see if we can track down the pit strategy. And in particular, we'll look at the pit stop times throughout this pack. This is a pretty good indicator as to who took their fuel stop when, right? Look at Dalton Kilbur. He took his fuel-only stop just this last time by, tires on both laps prior. Lacey took 2 tires on his first stop. He's taken 4 tires on both stops since. He's looking to take the 2 left side tires on the last pit stop when there's less than 30 laps to go. That's a good call, right? That means he's only going to have to run on 2 left side tires for minimal time in this race. Tracking down where Tony Hilbrand's is. His fuel only stopped the second stint of this race. Now he's good to push until the end. Dustin Ping, he's starting to copy Lacey's strategy, but he's committing to the 2 tires late. Took 2 right sides this time by. I would expect him to take 2 left sides. The next time we see him, it's a pit road.
Yeah, Dustin Ping gonna go ahead and take that strategy. The weird thing about that call is you don't really want to do that to the tail end of the race, because that's gonna leave you on your back foot if any cautions come out towards the end of the race. But just to add to the strategy game here, I mean, that's just one more strategy of what seems to be like 6 or 7 different strategy calls tonight.
And of course, overall, in terms of the stint length, you can again see just an idea of where everybody's at. 34, 35, that's been about the benchmark for most of the drivers so far when you're on fresh rubber. Maybe go down to 32 or 33 if you're on old tires, just so you can get out on some fresh rubber a little bit sooner. As there you see Benjamin Lacey trying to get around Ty Marasco now. Both of these drivers on fresh tires, and Marasco going to clear Lace from the outside, and that puts Marasco up to 3rd.
Ty Marasco up to 3rd once again. It seemed like he was a little bit further back earlier on in this. Oh, as Tony Hilbrand's got loose on the front stretch there. It just goes to show you with these Gen 4 cars that you're never really safe in this track at all. I mean, you can just be going down the straight and all of a sudden lose traction. So just goes to show how much experience these guys have gained over the season and how great they are in driving these cars here tonight.
You heard Brian Dees check up there as Hilbrand's chopped right across the nose. He was not confident at all that Hilbrand wasn't about to turn himself across his nose. Hilbrand will lap Michael Thorpe Jr. again. Well, actually, I stand corrected. Thorpe might actually be trying to unlap himself from the Mopar 92. As it stands, 12 cars remain on the lead lap, and all 4 of our contenders are still in the race. Look out, Thorpe! Sideways again off of turn number 2, right in front of one of the points runners.
Thorpe getting sideways once again coming out of the corner, and Hilbrand's, I'm sure, was puckering for that moment right there, because, man, that is the last thing he needs right now, is to get himself taken out by a non-championship contender and going into the final stint of this race here. So Tony Hilbrand's glad that that turned out to be nothing more.
40 laps to go at the line. We're not going to be seeing this series back for a few more months yet. I think their plan is to take about a 4-week break and come back in September and then run through towards the winter months. I'm going to miss this series again, right? I mean, we said this at the end of season 1, right? I mean, it's a genuinely thrilling series. And if you do have the chance, I would highly recommend getting in touch with these guys. Get in touch with Lacey, Chris Bassinger, Dalton Kilroe. Get yourself involved. This is a great group of guys to race with, competitive week in, week out. And they, I think, are right now some of the peak oval racing that you can find out there on the surface, at least in these machines.
Oh, 100%. I think last season was great with the Next Gen Cup Car Series, but man, this Gen 4 Series is one of a kind, and holy crap, have we seen an epic, thrilling season, and I am already ready to get this next season underway, because if it was anything like this season, we're in for an even better second season. I think is a lot of these guys have a bunch of experience now, and we're going to see a lot more competition as we approach that next season.
So we're less than 40 laps away from the end. We're closing in on when the window opens for the last pit stops of the night. So I'm going to pop the... I asked you beforehand, right? You were telling me you were looking at Tony Hilbrand's potential for the win. Does that opinion still stand, or has it shifted at all?
You know, I'm going to go ahead and stick to my guns here that I think Tony Hilbrand's is going to be my guy to win. I think he's just put on an astronomical season and able to pull off a really amazing run towards the end of this year. I know he's run into some situations where he's been on his back foot, but man, for the most part, when he's shown up, he's shown up. And I just really can see him putting on another good show tonight and finding his way to be the winner of the High Tide Racing League this season.
It's a good answer. Very good answer.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that I was thinking about too is Dalton Kilroe. The guy is another guy tonight that's really putting on a show to give himself the opportunity to be able to take it over. So I'm going to have to see if it's going to be Dalton Kilroe tonight with his really, really good drive when it counted the most.
He blinked out, and for a second I thought he crashed out of the session. That was about to call one of the biggest commentator jinxes we have ever had on Green Flag TV. You lucked out of that one there.
Yeah, no kidding. I did not want to see that.
Pretty big fight here with Brian Dees, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Dustin Ping, all under a blanket, and all of them trying to see if they can scrap it out. This is for the 8th place spot on the racetrack. Still on the lead lap, yes, but the race leader not too far away. So they've been going at it, though, for the last several laps. Butcher Benjamin just took away the lead, and there you can see now Dustin Ping right back to the inside, and he'll pick up one off from Brian Dees. But they're within a third of a second of each other, the three of them.
Yeah, these guys making for a great battle. Dustin Ping, though, really has to get it in gear if he wants to catch the other three and make his way towards the top. He's the back marker right now when it comes towards the championship fight. But still 34 laps to go, one more pit cycle, and I think we're really going to find out whose strategy paid off here in the next cycle.
Going to pull up those pit stop numbers again here, and as I say that, Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the pit road, so right on cue there. Benjamin Lacey, I'm expecting him to be the first one in out of all of our runners, although he also might be looking to run his stint out as long as physically possible, so he can get himself out there on a fresh set of tires for the very end, or at least only on the left side tires for the very end. I don't know, man. That 20-lap stint there in the middle, it's throwing me off. I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah, it's hard to understand that that strategy call there. That's really going to mess up the chances for him. You know, it could have just, whoa, it looked like somebody got a little close there entering in the pit lane, maybe Jason Greenwell. But yeah, I think maybe it had to do something with car comfort, but man, it's really going to screw up the opportunity to come away with the race win.
Unless I mentioned that he might be looking to take the right sides early, then he'll go as long as he can. Oh boy, Lacey kicking the tail end out. But I mentioned, you know, he might be going in for a long stop here, just so he has to spend as little time as possible on the left side tires. Do you think maybe he came in for left sides on that first stop instead of the rights, like we assumed? He's in a pit road, so this will be the telltale sign here.
Yeah, that's a great question. I didn't even think about him going for the left sides first. Generally, you think with those two stops, or the two tire stops, you're going for the right sides. But we'll find out here.
Into the box. Do the right sides go up? They do! Was it left sides only on the first pit stop of the race? That would explain why he lost so much. Left side's back up now, so he's got 4 tires on, same as Dalton Kilroe in front. And we thought he was out of tires.
And here we go. The two guys racing for the championship right now, here in this moment, are now on their last cycle. They're on the same set of tires, same amount of gas. So this is going to be a dead heat race all the way to the finish. Just when we thought that this race couldn't get any more epic, here we go to see Benjamin Lacey.
Oh boy.
It's a little tight with Kilroe after bumping the apron there. They're coming out swinging right now as they are battling their way for the championship.
And like you mentioned, right, this is the big one. They are fighting it out for the championship, but they're good to go to the end. These two right now leading the championship at Homestead-Miami Speedway because Dustin Ping still has to pit.
Dustin Ping still has to pit. That means that he is very likely out of contention for this. Hilbrands is going to be the other guy that's going to sneak up on them, but he is now 2 or 3 positions back from Lacey, which means that it's going to be a tough task for him to overcome that deficit. But I think it's still going to be possible for him to find his way in contention as well. He is, let's see here, about 10 seconds back from Benjamin Lacey as we stand right now. So he's got a huge deficit to overcome with just 28 laps to go. But right now we got Benjamin Lacey, Dalton Kilrow in this epic showdown in the final 28 laps.
Benjamin Lacey trying to fight to the inside with just 27 to go. They're catching lap traffic, the 24. The 24's off the wall. He'll come down, and they'll just be able to keep it going in the right direction. Down the front straightaway, Dalton Kilrow hangs on, and I think that may have just kept Lacey at bay for the time being. Michael Thorpe Jr., meanwhile, in pit road, has had a bit of an oopsie-daisy, it appears, with Scott Shire.
Scott Shire was having a great race earlier on here. Diving down to pit lane. Not too terrible.
Not too terrible on this one. Now, where is Thorpe is the big ticket question here on this one. And in fact, this may have actually been a combination of the drivers entering their pits and exiting their pits. This is coming down into the lane. There's Thorpe. No idea where Shire is. We heard from race control that something had happened, but I can't see where.
Yeah, that's interesting to call that. But yes, again, Scott Shire having a brilliant first stint of the race, and he's just kind of fallen back ever since. So sitting 8th right now, but that is significantly further back than he started this race. So given the pit cycle situation, it just must not have played out in his favor.
Bob Berry having to slide into the grass, just spun the wheels up coming off of pit road, nearly went into the kitty litter for turn 1 of the road course. Able to hang on, but here's the big battle. Lacey and Kilrow going at it, and Bob Berry spun! Caution is out! With just 25 to go, the yellow flies. Ping did not pit. Ping will now be able to get out on fresh tires in front of most of the field, and he's got the lucky dog. Dustin Ping suddenly in the catbird seat to win this thing.
Dustin Ping could not have asked for the caution to fall any better than it has right now. Wow, what an amazing chance for him to get himself in position. That also puts Kilrow, Lacey, and Hilbrands right neck and neck with each other, as well as Shire in the mix just a little bit, but that closes the gap for those 3 as well. So, man, Dustin Ping really got the break he needed right here.
Just lost it on cold tires coming through turn 3. Greenwell gave him a tag and rebounded back up into the outside wall. Ty Marasco just barely avoids the mess, and then, of course, Berry slides down, comes to a stop. That forces a caution. And take a look at oh, my goodness. Big twitch right on the entry there. That's a weird spin to have happen there. Let's take a look on board. Oh, it just snapped. It was going around him already. He just overreacted.
That was really tough to save once it snapped out over steer like that going into the corner and then just overcorrecting it. So unfortunately for Bob Berry, was not able to recover from that.
On board with Marasco. He narrowly avoided Bob Berry as he went into the outside wall. Good job to lock it down. And then Dustin Ping had a scare when he came back down the track.
Ooh. Yeah, that was almost, it turned out to be lucky for Dustin Ping, but almost turned out to be unlucky for him as well. So we're talking just a couple feet may have been the difference between him and winning and losing the championship right there.
So Tony Hilbrands, Benjamin Lacey, and Dalton Kilrow are all going to have to stay out. There were only 2 cars that were on the lead lap when that happened. So Dustin Ping will have to come down to pit road this time by. He'll be able to get back onto the lead lap. He did just get the lucky dog free pass. Now he can take his stop. He'll be on about 10 lap fresher tires than everybody else. They can't come down the pit road. They've used up all their tires, and he's going to be in front of all of them too, because he's going to be able to get himself back onto the lead lap when the rest of the pack has to take a wave around and line up behind him on the restart. But all 4 of them are at the very tail end of the field with everybody else.
It's absolutely amazing. I did not think that this could get any more dramatic than it's gotten tonight. And here we are with a situation that puts all of our guys right back up next to each other. And the underdog for tonight with the chance to have come away with the victory and win when it counted the most. So Dustin Ping on a epic moment right now to be able to come away with the championship. I remember just thinking, you know, earlier on in the season when we did his memorial race for his grandma, and didn't really like that part of the season. Kind of felt like a low point for him for the season. So maybe tonight will be the night that he can redeem that race that he had with his grandma's memorial to be able to come away a champion.
He doesn't need to win. He just needs to finish in front of the other 3. And right now, that's where he's at. The lights are going to go out aboard the iRacing pace car. The field will wave around. And we're effectively going to be gearing up for a single file restart here, because practically everybody except for 4 drivers had to stay out to get the wave around to stay on the lead lap because of the timing of that yellow.
Yeah, that timing of the yellow couldn't have been any worse for those guys. But I think going back to what we were talking about earlier on in this race, the overcut strategy just always seems to pay off when you have a lot of green flag running here. Because in the High Tide Racing League, because look at this situation now. The guys that were able to extend those stops out there now on the lead lap and now sitting pretty in the front, and when everybody else had to go a lap down there as they're recycling through the pit stops.
Dustin Ping's in the YouTube chat, and he is a very happy man right now. I'm not surprised, but he is a very happy man. He'll restart 3rd on the inside line. Everybody else has to line up single file behind him. He cannot be jumped on the restart, and he's got a bit of a buffer zone between himself and the other guys as well. Only 2 rows will be side by side. 20 laps to decide who wins a championship at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Green flag's out. We're back to it.
Here we are back to it once again as we get ready to go through turn number 1 here. Ashmore dipping down to the apron to get himself out of the way for the other competitors out of the field. Great job by him. He knows that he's a car that struggles to compete, so he did not want to be in the way for this final championship running. Benjamin Lacey looking to the inside of Dalton Kilroy going into 3.
Lacey not willing to wait around, trying to make the move, but meanwhile, Dustin Ping is out in front, and he's got fresher tires than everybody behind him. The big question, is it enough for a championship with 20 to go? Even on fresh tires, he's been off pace from the rest of the leaders all race long, but now that he's on fresh rubber, he's just about dead even.
Dalton Kilroy looking to the inside of Jason Greenwell going down the back stretch here. He's going to get around him. Maybe not. As we enter in turn number 3 here, Kilroy and Lacey duking it out for the positions behind him. They single file out just a little bit, so they're going to have to wait for their opportunity to get alongside each other once again, coming out on the first stretch.
You know, I got to be honest, I was not pegging Dustin Ping to win this race when we entered this action tonight. I thought it was going to be either Hilbrands or Lacey coming into this one. Then Dalton Kilroy got in the fray. Now Hilbrands is nowhere to be found at the front. He's got 2 cars with himself and the front runners, and Dustin Ping is leading this thing, and he's pulling away. I think Dustin Ping's just chalked himself out to be the new favorite to win this one on a massive upset.
Yeah, massive upset by Dustin Ping. Dalton Kilroy also looking to be in second in the standings going towards the end of the night as we stand. So 2 guys that were kind of considered to be the underdogs are now leading the pack in this championship battle. Tony Hilbrandt's looking into the inside of Scott Shire. If he wants to get his chance to be on top of the podium for the championship, this is exactly what he needs to do. Fight for that position to the inside of Shire. Shire not giving it up easy going into 3.
It is slipping away, though, every second that is held up by these drivers. He can see them pulling out more and more of a gap in front. He's got to make short work of this, but right now, Shire's so evenly matched with him, he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Hilbrandt's really going to struggle there, but it looks like Benjamin Lacey trying the outside move on Dalton Kilrow here. If these guys get alongside each other, that'll be exactly what Hilbrandt's needs to try and catch up to these two, as it looks like he got around Greenwell and the guy that he was alongside. I can't remember who it was now. And so now he's just got one person between him and Lacey and Kilrow here. So Greenwell behind him, and now he's got to tackle Shire, and then he can make his way back up towards these guys.
Dalton Kilrow still fending off Benjamin Lacey, but Dustin Pink pulling out a gap. 1.4 seconds up the road, and this is going to be absolutely insane if this championship goes down the way I think we're gearing up for it to go down. 15 coming to 14 to go. Time is running out, and at this point, I don't think they've got enough to run him down.
I really don't think they do either. I think at this point, these two just have to stack out and ride single file to try and close that gap if they have any chance at being able to overtake him for this championship win. Dustin Ping needs to also drive mistake-free going through the last 15 laps, or else he's going to have his hands full and his mirrors full with two guys that are very hungry to make themselves the champions as well.
I'm a bit speechless. I mean, I did not ever anticipate that this is what this championship would come down to. I mean, holy cow. Did you think going into this that this is what type of a race we'd be getting here this afternoon?
Oh, I 100% thought this. These guys were so hungry to get themselves in the championship, and just looking at the qualification results, they were stacked one right on top of the other. So you knew these guys were putting in the practice this week to get themselves the fastest laps possible. And look at that, Hilbrandt's has passed Shire now, and he's in contention to get alongside to catch up these guys as well. And if you talk about a caution right here, that's going to close the gap on all four of these guys. But Ping getting ready to take the lead from Nick Nickerson.
Dustin Ping drives this one out in front of the number 2, and he will retake the race. Well, he'll take the race lead for the first time all night long. He has not finished at the top step of the podium once this season. Wouldn't that be special to take your maiden win in the same race you win a championship in?
The top 4 drivers fighting for the championship right now in the top 5 positions. But man, Dustin Ping riding off into the sunset. This is his race to lose at this point. I think Benjamin Lacey, Dalton Kilrow are beginning to realize that. So they are going to go ahead and battle for their spot on the championship as well. Try and go for that second place finish in the championship. But so far, Dalton Kilrow giving Benjamin Lacey a run for his money. He's going to try and pinch him to that low line to prevent him from getting any momentum coming out of the corner.
This looks like you wrote this thing in Hollywood, the way this is shaking up to go down. The only thing we're missing right now is the cheesy side love triangle that everybody knows will be resolved magically by the end of the film, right? But other than that, this is down to a T exactly what you'd be seeing in one of those racing movies.
Oh yeah, for sure. With Dustin Ping being the major underdog so far this season, finding his way, crawling his way back up towards the top step of the podium in the final race is just a storybook for the ages. And it is exactly what this season's been so far for the High Tide Racing League. And man, what a great story it's been to tell.
Austin McGill pulls down in the pit road. He is out of the fight. Tony Hilbrandt's is continuing to slip back. He is 5 seconds out from the race lead. Hilbrandt's not enough time to reel this gap in. Kilmer and Lacey have continued to be slipping back. They're 3 seconds out now from Dustin Ping. He was going to take 8 to go at the line this time by. Nick Nickerson has nothing for the 81 car. The only fight remaining on the racetrack in the championship battles is for second.
Yeah, I think Hilbrands is not going to be able to close that gap with just 8 laps to go. Benjamin Lacey doing a Hail Mary on the outside line right there to try and get momentum coming out of the corner, looking down to the inside, but Kilrow blocks him just a little bit. Lacey used that momentum swing to get to the inside as we go to turn number 3.
Lacey to the inside, trying to track up across the nose of the 41, off of turn number 4. Benjamin Lacey takes the number 2 spot in the championship and 3rd in the race.
Yeah, Kilrow's got to answer with that same move that Benjamin Lacey pulled by riding that outside, getting that momentum, but it looks like Lacey's going to go ahead and take that spot once again on that high side there. That's going to give him a nice momentum boost coming out of that corner, and Dalton Kilrow is going to have trouble answering that. As we get ready to go into turn number 3, they're going to have to ride a little lower, but it looks like Scott Shire and Hilbrands are going to battle it out here for the 5th and 4th position.
Scott Shire still trying to get whatever points he can muster to see if he can finish as high as he possibly can in his championship. Tony Hilbrands looking like he's going to slip back to the 6th place spot. Michael Thorpe Jr. will be down, still down a lap, and he is just watching this battle from the wings. Shire through to a top 5.
Shire going to the top 5 position. Hilbrands watching his chances diminish as he's falling backwards towards the end of this race with only 6 laps to go. It's going to be a really tough task for him at this point, pending no cautions, which I imagine we're going to probably be going green throughout the rest of this race.
Brian Dees trying to fight it out with Kevin Foster in the final 5 laps of this race, looking for the outside. Foster keeping his machine pinned down to the low side, not about to give him an in. But Kevin Foster looking like he'll be able to drive away with the 7th place spot with no troubles behind.
Yeah, no troubles behind. Ping has now gained a 1.3 second gap over the 2nd place in Nick Nickerson, and more importantly has now almost a 4-second gap over Lacey and Kilrow. So at this point, it's practically Dustin Ping's race to lose, and man, what a journey it's been for this guy. Considered the underdog throughout the entire run of the playoffs, has made himself in the right position to be the championship when it's mattered most.
Just 3 laps left to go. It has been such an up and down journey for Dustin Ping throughout the season, but he's put that car in the right spots where it mattered, and he's got less than 5 miles before he can finally call himself a champion.
Dustin Ping doing such a great job to put himself in that position. Man, what a great strategy call it was for him to do that. I just look back throughout the season and all the ups and downs that he's had to experience to get himself into this position to be the champion. A rookie in his rookie season in the High Tide Racing League. Man, I don't think I could have ever told you in the beginning of the season that a rookie was going to be the guy to come in here and take the championship.
We always knew it was a possibility, but it was looking like it was going to slip away even in this very race. But he has very much turned the tables. A little bit of luck finally falls his way, and that gives him a 1 1/4 second gap over Nick Nickerson behind. He'll come off of the final corner, taking the white flag. Just 1 lap left to go. What an emotional season it has been for Dustin Ping. He works his way through the turns 1 and 2. A memorial race for a passing relative earlier on in the season. So many lows, but he's gotten quite a few highs as well. He is still not gone to the top step of the podium, but as he works into 3 and 4, there's no competition behind. Nothing can stop him now. It's the biggest upset in Green Flag TV history. Dustin Ping, you, my friend, are the High Tide Racing League champion on Monday night.
Man, what an opportunity for Dustin Ping to overcome the odds when it mattered the most. I just got goosebumps hearing you call him on the final lap there. Just every sim racer's dream to have that opportunity to be the underdog, come out and take a championship win in their inaugural season in their league. This is just a storybook ending to what an astronomical and epic season this has been in the High Tide Racing League.
You could not pick a more fitting conclusion to a final chapter in a season. And at the end of it all, he'll be the one to put on the final smoke show. His maiden win, his only win, and it's in the one race where it matters the most. Your new champion, the rookie, dethrones the veteran, and he will burn it down in Miami.
Dustin Payne just doing a great job, and man, what a deserving win for this guy. Just looking back throughout his season, he's done such an astronomical job at putting himself at the right place, the right time, and the rest of these guys had their odds cut out for them to be able to overtake him in this race tonight.
What a wild show for Dustin Ping. I am so happy for him. This is a champion that is well deserved of that role. He has fought tooth and nail for this thing. And in the most insane finish, he is going to come away with this thing. He was out. I mean, let's be honest. He had yet to pit. He was looking to finish this race a lap down, and a lucky caution at the 11th hour gifts him not just his first win, but a championship to boot. And with so much celebrations in store for him this afternoon, we'll take a rundown of your final point standings here this afternoon after an insane race to close out Season 2 of the High Tide Race League MF Racing Designs Cup Series. Coming away at the end of the night, Dustin Ping, your new champion, takes his maiden win by a second and a half over Nick Nickerson. Your defending champion, Benjamin Lacey, dethroned. He'll finish this race out on the podium. Dalton Kilroe, so close yet so far in fourth. Scott Shire in fifth. For Tony Hilbrands, he is left wanting. He'll have to come back in Season 3 with a vengeance to try and get that title. First season was in the round of 8. This time made it to the final 4. Next stop, championship land. Kevin Foster was 7th. Brian D. 8th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Ty Marasco round out the top 10.
Sean Williams ended up in 11th with Aaron Smith in 12th, Michael Thorpe Jr. 13th, David Leakey 14th. 15th was Jason Greenwell, 16th was Paul Zathmary, 17th Austin McGill, 18th Bob Berry, 19th Michael Ashmore, 20th Steve Ulrich, and 21st being Connor Gibson.
Dustin Ping still burning down the front straightaway. We'll take a step back when we return. It's the post-race show on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are just coming in for the post-race show after what was an insane night to close out the championship here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll get in touch with your Season 2 champion, Dustin Ping. Dustin, you only took one win of the season, but it's the one win in the one race where it matters most, and you do so with your grandma's name on the side of the car. Talk us through what must be an emotional night for you this afternoon.
I'm in shock. I guess I just Daniel hammered it, so I'm in shock. Like,
I mean, overall, it's looking like it's going to be over. You're in the lead of the points, yes, but you have to realize you have to pit. You're almost certainly going to go a lap down, and that's going to be it. Then the caution comes out. What goes through your head when you see that yellow flag pop up and you realize you got a chance now?
I was like, thank God, because I think my right front was getting ready to blow. I was gonna have to pit like that lap. I was pitting that lap, and then the caution wreck happened in front of me. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. So,
not often do we see a rookie dethrone such a dominant champion from Season 1. We look forward to the future, though. I think we're going to have about a month and a half off for this championship. Will we be seeing you back to defend the crown for Season 3?
yes, I'll be back.
I would expect absolutely nothing less. It's bound to be an entertaining fight. Dustin, huge congratulations for taking the championship this afternoon. I can't imagine what it must feel like, and we'll get set to see you back on track for Season 3, stronger than ever.
All right, thank you.
Dustin Ping walks this one off with a shock championship in one of the most dramatic upsets we've seen in the Green Flag TV history for this one. We'll get the chance to bring on down Nick Nickerson. He is the first driver that finishes this race. Was not in it for the points win, but he was certainly in it for the overall win. And, well, Nick, you come home. You finished second in the final race in this one. Overall, still a very successful night, and it's going to be one last good points haul to secure your standing in the championships.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just feel a little bruised after that because I feel like I had that wrapped up, and then that yellow came out like at the absolute worst time for me because I was probably one of 3 cars on the oldest set of tires. I was really banking on it to go in green the whole time. Even if it didn't, at least like, around when I was going to pit. But, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's good for Dustin, man. He, whether he planned to or not, he had an extra set sitting there and was able to get it done, man. Just schooled everybody on strategy. So other than that, man, it was a good race. I was just clicking off laps, trying to save tires and run the longest distance I could. And, yeah, that's about it.
And, of course, we look for the championship into the next season. Of course, misfortune struck for you in this championship, and unfortunately you were out by the end of the round of 12. But as Season 3 rolls around, do you think a championship is still back on the cards for you?
Yeah, maybe. Probably not. I mean, I can't guarantee I can make all the races, and we'll see, man. I just don't really care too much about the championship or whatever. I'm just here to have fun, hang out with guys, and try to win a couple races.
Well, congratulations regardless on taking the 9th place in the point standings at the end of the season, and of course for taking your 2nd place finish this afternoon. When we see you next, hopefully it'll be for the opener in Season 3.
Appreciate you guys.
Nick Nickerson walks this one off with the number 2 spot here this afternoon, and well, that'll bring us down to the champion that got dethroned tonight. Josh, I'll pass our 3rd place runner and runner-up in the points down to you.
Benjamin Lacey sitting 3rd place tonight in the standings, though it is a podium finish for you, which you are no stranger to the podium. It is also a little bit of heartbreak considering that just 2 positions ahead was Dustin Ping, the champion for tonight. Can you walk us through a little bit about your night?
Yeah, it was one of patience, really, because I didn't take tires on that first set of stops. So I would have hopefully a set in the long run to kind of come around and catch everyone up again, and it was working out. Just had to be patient and ended up getting to the back bumper there of Dalton, around 30 to go, and we both came down at the same time. So at that point on, it was it was on. The gloves came off. It was gonna be a lot of fun. And then caution came out, and Dustin, I guess, had a strategy there for caution coming out and saved a set of tires. So it was a good call on him, and it worked out for him. And congrats to Dustin for getting the championship and the win.
Yeah, that strategy call couldn't have been more perfect considering of how the caution flag fell. Walk us through your strategy decision. It seemed like earlier on in the race you had the opportunity to take 2 tires and you went with that strategy, but it set you back quite a bit on your back foot. How did you feel when you were going through that stint as you were beginning to drop?
Yeah, so that first set, the first round of pit stops, we only had three sets of tires for the whole pit stop run. So I decided to not take any tires that first round and know I was going to fall back. That's why I had to be such a patient, for patience of virtue for it tonight for me. But then from that point on, I was just going to come in around lap 53 is what I figured out to be my sweet spot. And, just waited till the end, came back in, then I got my 4 freshies and then went back out and just ran it dry till the end. But that was the strategy behind it. I'd rather have more fresh tires at the end of the race than having to double stint or stint and a half, whatever you want to call it, toward the end of the race, which seems like some of the other guys elected to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think trying to get that stint knocked out early is probably the better call. That was kind of one of the things we were discussing throughout the race so far tonight. But looking forward into next season, are you going to be returning for another chance to try and earn your spot back to the top of the championship?
Oh, I'll be here for sure. Definitely enjoy running in this league. It's a lot of good guys. I got to give a shout out to Bob Berry. He messaged me privately here after that race, and he was feels awful about bringing out the caution, but I'm telling him that probably made the championship just that much more exciting, honestly, for me, because it just kind of throws a wrench in the gear there, and just kind of you got to kind of toss it up and see what happens, So I get it on his end, but at the same time, from a broadcast standpoint, I'm sure that just absolutely made it a good show, and I really appreciate everyone coming out and supporting the league, driving in the league. We love everybody here, and it's really appreciative of it. It's been a great couple of seasons, and we're really excited about season 3 coming up.
Yeah, I think to cap on that as well, I think from Green Flag TV, we also want to say a thank you to you admins as well for such a storybook season. It's been such a fun ride to join alongside you guys to put on such a great show for everybody that watches Green Flag TV. So thank you, Benjamin, for your contribution so far to this season, and looking forward to seeing you in season 3.
Yeah, I appreciate Green Flag TV. You guys do such an amazing job, just absolutely stellar. So appreciate it. Can't wait to watch this one back, and much love, y'all.
Benjamin Lacey walks away. He will take the number 2 spot in the championship at the end of the night. And, of course, a big thank you as well to his kind words at the end of things as well. Holy cow. I was not anticipating this race is going to go down this way. Josh, I know you were not anticipating this either. What a drive. What a ride it has been. And I don't think we could have anticipated a more emotional season finale. And it sets up the mother of all comebacks for a championship in season 3.
Yeah, this was the absolute storybook season, probably one of the craziest seasons I've seen in my tenure in broadcasting, and as well as a racer. I mean, I look back, I've been in the service doing iRacing since about 2016, and man, I don't think I could remember a time that was this epic of a story throughout the entirety of this season. So this story couldn't have been written any better, and the final chapter was absolutely amazing, and it's got me so pumped for the next season.
The next season, it seems far away, but I promise you it'll be up here before too long. A big thanks to Blackhawk Motorsports once again for taking on the duties of sponsoring this season finale, and to the other sponsors throughout the course of the High Tide Racing League season. A big thank you as well to the High Tide Racing League once again for including us in on this absolutely thrilling championship. Could not have hoped for a better championship to call on Monday nights. If you want to check out more racing action, be sure to check out the OMSRL Cup Series at the Charlotte Motor Speedway tomorrow night, the Beer League at Phillip Island on Wednesday night, and the Speed Cup Series on Thursdays, but I don't feel like any of them will come close to the drama that we saw this afternoon. It was a wild one, and we will be back for every single lap from start to finish for season number 3. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. Throughout the entire season, my name has been Nola Rempel. Josh Baird has been alongside me diligently week in, week out. Thanks to Austin Esham as well for filling in for the 1 week or two that I could not due to being ill. And of course, as always, it's been a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you, everybody, for joining us once again for such a thrilling season and being able to share with us. We'll see you when the season returns in the fall.